Hello and welcome to another Overlord lore video, and today we are going to take a look at the spectacular Battle of E-Naüru, the thus far best thing CGI animation has produced in Overlord. Which isn't a particularly difficult task, since the Massacre of the Cuts Plains horror mainly came from the Dark Young's sheer awkwardness, instead of them being literal children of a Lovecraftian deity. But nonetheless, the Battle of E-Naüru was really good. But before we're going to take a closer look at it, let's take a closer look at my Patreons and thank them for supporting this channel. Furthermore, I say thank you to all users of the YouTube thanks function who made one-time donations. And now with all of that said, let's dive into the battle. And we will start with the approach. While the anime mentioned it, I feel I should highlight that before the siege of the larger settlement, aka the town of E-Naüru itself has happened, the Death Knight and the Death Warrior attacked the peasant villages and smaller towns surrounding the coastal city. As mentioned in my last video about the Death Knights, they can not only kill people, but also turn them into squire zombies, who in turn can create an unlimited amount of normal zombies, and Scama Albero correctly noticed that the clothes and the weapons are indeed from the villagers that formerly lived around E-Naüru. Furthermore, the army of the undead approached from the Analysing mountains because they had stuck to the mountain chain in order to encircle the capital city of Re-Estize, which at this point is still unaware that the undead army is marching on the kingdom's land. And here's another thing that wasn't really explained but shown. Scama had two male teammates, and the predatory priestesses are adventurers, and the army of the undead is clearly from the sorcerer kingdom, and adventurers aren't really allowed to intervene in interstate conflicts, or even in just interstate conflicts. So how is any of this okay? Well, they will just pretend that these undead bearing the banners of the Sorcerer King aren't really his army, but just some random undead that just happened to obtain the banners somehow. And that's why the defense of E-Naüru not only happened with the 4 armaments, but with a whole bunch of adventurers, casters, and mobilized townspeople, like veterans or retired adventurers, together with regular royal troops. And all of them had been promised great rewards in terms of items, payments or playthings in order to further motivate all of them. And the defense strategy was quite good. The archers were on the wall, and they stood in rank and file in as deep as a formation as the walls themselves would allow, in order to mass their fire. The caster unit by comparison were also stationed on the high walls, but they were much more spread out, and used the machiculations in order for further cover. And the reason for all of this is that archers are able to indirectly fire on the enemies, and thanks to the tightly packed formation, the arrows would more or less land all on the same area. Thus even indirect fire will hit simply by chance, while the casters not only required a line of sight, but also the extra protection the machiculations provided. Because while losing a tightly packed unit of archers is bad, losing all of your massed casters to one single attack would be a death sentence for the entire city. Because while regular zombies could be culled from afar and killed by stone toss from the walls if necessary, the Death Knight and the Death Warrior would only really be countered by magic. And while the Death Warrior is a level 35 being with an attack stat of a normal level 40 creature and a defense of only that of an undead of the level of 25, the Death Knight not only had a defense of a level 40 being, and the attack value of one that had just crossed the level of 25, but also a great tower shield. The plan of the undead army was to send forth the Death Knight first, since its defense is the best, and therefore it can tank the first wave of attack, while the much less defendable Death Warrior will stay back, because if it had been hit with the same amount of spells, it might just have crumbled instantly. And my god, I have never seen such a beautiful fireball spell in all of Overlord, though Iguas comes very close to it. This is by the way another advantage the defenders had, because fire spells are not only very effective in general against the undead, but fireball in particular is also an area of effect spell and therefore takes out nearby zombies. But even with Fireball casted repeatedly, as well as a bunch of other spells, the Death Knight made it still to the reinforced city gates. And even with its weight and mass behind it, which was conveyed greatly by the visuals of the anime, I mean, just the time it had taken for the Death Knight to gain its full speed really shows how much mass was behind his every move. But still, the gate held initially. And here's another great thing the books and the anime did. The adventurers clearly realized how powerful this Death Knight was, and that the door wouldn't hold. So using lightning, a piercing spell of the 3rd tier, to engage the Death Knight through the still closed gate was another brilliant thing. And buffing and supporting the arguably strongest melee fighter was also great, and the anime also did a great job at showing that while the Death Knight would have won the battle in the long run, because it doesn't tire, while Scama had to focus everything she had on just not getting hit by it, she was still able to stall the undead for a few precious seconds. But the objective of the Death Knight was not to break through this last human defense. It was to hold out until the Death Warrior that now was free to just go through the broken city gate in order to attack together stood by its side. And this is the point where the Sorcerer Kingdom's forces would have normally prevailed. The Death Warrior would have easily taken out the Priestess and the other supporting elements with its ranged attacks, while the Death Knight would just have kept stalling Scama a little bit longer. After that, they could just ignore the masked casters and archers and leave them for the zombies, while they too go straight into the town center and kill off the inhabitants, thus creating more undead that would then attack pursuing royal forces and ultimately encircle them from front and rear. And while fighting regular human citizens, the already weakened Death Knight would still be very useful without risking its destruction by masked spellfire. But luckily for them, the defenders of E-Naüru managed to stall the undead long enough for the red-suited, adamantite ranked adventurer to arrive and destroy both the Death Knights and the Death Warrior, before speeding off. That still left the defenders with a horde of undead, but they were weak, slow and stupid, and now they could just be peppered with arrows, spells and stones from high city walls, while the melee fighters would just engage the zombie horde at the only entrance to the city. So it was a really good battle, and you could clearly see that both sides had a strategy just by the visuals alone. And the best thing? At no point were infantry, catapults or cavalry placed outside of the walls behind some sticks. And with that said, I say thank you very much for watching, and special thanks to Badger Ye, Bat Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Duckwagon, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feral Shivan, Guy with That Hat, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kylar, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, O'Kill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantom, Personage, Primus 11, Q-Ne Caracos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rocket Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vashorkai, Vegito 27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm and Zonegon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.